Got our master cylinder over here, which is probably fairly empty. Yeah, it's looking like in a swimming pool that needs to be filled there. So I got a few other things I got to do. I need to clean up a little bit, put some stuff away, and we'll get ready to tackle this. So either later this evening or tomorrow or whenever I can. So hopefully tomorrow or the next day I'm going to go get the parts for the parking brake in the rear, and then we'll take that off again and do that. So basically we got to redo the parking brakes on the rear, and then we got to stick our new bolt caliper in there, and then we're done with the mechanics of it. And then of course we still got to bleed the system, but I'm going to probably have the system bled before any of that. I don't have to wait on bleeding the system to I don't have to wait on the bolt, and I don't have to wait on the brake shoes on the back to do that, because I won't have to rebleed anything. It'll be fine. So that's what that's going to entail. So all right, stick with me. Okay, so excuse the shaky camera here. I just put that little bottle of brake fluid, filled the master cylinder with it. We're going to move on to bleeding the brakes today. So what I'm going to do is, the best way to do it is to start from the wheel that's furthest away from the master cylinder. So that usually means the right rear, then do the left rear, then do the passenger side front, then the driver's front. So that way you're slowly getting the air out of all of the lines going up to the master cylinder. That's kind of the general wisdom there. There's a lot of different ways to bleed brakes, and some of them depend on what you have on hand or the situation. This here is a special little brake bleeder that I made. It's basically a combination of a Coca-Cola bottle and one of those little brake bleeder kits that you can get at like Harbor Freight. It's just like a little plastic bottle. It's got a little lid on it, which this is the lid, and it's got a one-way valve in here. So you basically crack your bleeder screw, you stick this into the hole in the bleeder screw, you crack it, and you push this in there, and then when you're pumping the brakes, it flushes the fluid through here, and then when you let up on the pedal, this one-way valve, it won't let fluid back up in there. So you're and you're flushing your brake line out too when you're doing that. You're getting all the old fluid out of there. So and the advantage of using a bottle like this is it only takes a few strokes pushing down on that brake pedal to usually fill up those other little bottles. So you make something like this, and you can pretty much do an entire wheel before you got to empty it out. So that's kind of how I do it. I'm going to try and grab the camera and get underneath here and see if I can show you where to put this thing in there without shaking things up too much here. I don't know how well that's going to work. Okay, so again, shaky camera here. Okay. All right. Now what we're aiming for here is all right. That right there. You can see that little brake bleeder screw right there. So what we're going to do is we take and we crack the screw a little bit with this wrench here. Of course, it wasn't very tight to begin with because I already loosened it a little bit. Just maybe a quarter of a turn, and you bring your Coke bottle over here. You take this little thing and you stick it right in the center of this screw here. And sometimes these things have a little bit of dirt in them, so this one does. Probably should have taken that off and cleaned it out, but we'll try it anyways. Okay. So now I'm going to set the camera down here, and I'm going to go up there and push on the brake pedal and see if we can watch this thing filling up here. Let's see. All right, I kind of got it shined on the bottle here, so. All right. When you first get in the vehicle, it's, you know, your pedals, your brake pedal, after you've done all these brakes, like, if you change the brake lines and stuff, you're going to need to bleed the brakes really good. Sometimes if you just replace the pads, you can push the calipers back in there, and sometimes you can kind of get away without having to bleed it. It's always better to do that, but, you know, if you're in a situation, you know, where you can't bleed them and you just have to replace the pads, you can sometimes do that without having to go through this. But all right. Okay, did you have any fun under here? Did we see anything exciting? Looks like there's a little bit of fluid in there. The other thing too is every 5 or 6, you know, pumps down, you need to check your master cylinder to make sure there's fluid in it, because if you forget and you don't put fluid in the master cylinder, then you got to do it all over again, because when it runs dry, then you're just going to be pumping air into your brake lines again. So I'm going to go check that. We're still good in there. Probably got maybe 2 or 3 more pumps on this one. So, and I'm starting to feel the pedal pump up. You start feeling it getting some pedal there, so that's good. Alright, okay, yeah, it's filling up. You can see it's dark, which this brake fluid's been changed not that long ago, because I changed it after the little situation where that front wheel heated up and I took the wheel off to check it out. I flushed some new brake fluid through there just because. So this stuff will be coming out a little dirty over there, but eventually it should run pretty clean. So let's see here. Alright, I'm going to pause this for a second and check everything, make sure put new fluid in the master cylinder. And alright, we're back. Put some more fluid in the master cylinder, and we're going to hit it a couple more times, and then I think we'll close this one up and move to the next one. It seems like it's getting some fluid in there, so check this bleeder screw up here and make sure our thing's still stuck in there. It is. So, all right. Sorry, this is boring, but what are you going to do, right? Couple more. Okay, that's starting to look clear. That's the other way you know you're starting to get some cleaner fluid in there, is when it starts to clear up. You know, you're getting most of the air out. So I think I'm going to stop with this one, and we're going to move on to the next one, and then we'll just go from there. So you turn this bleeder screw up here kind of closed by hand, pull this little thing out of here and then tighten up the bleeder screw. Okay, now we are going to do the exact same thing on this wheel over here. Like I said, the bigger the bottle or the container for this, the better. You could also take this bottle and put it in a coffee can, or put it on something to where it was a little less likely to tip too. But this works pretty good for me. All right, we got our other bleeder screw right up there. Now it's hard to see. Right there. So that's what we're gonna put our hose in there. See if you can even see the damn bottle. I can't see anything with this. Okay. Again, my apologies for this, but what are you gonna do, right? All right, crack the bleeder screw. And stick our dealie in there. Sometimes you have to open the screw up a little bit more than what you initially open it, because sometimes it'll be tight and it won't want to come, fluid won't want to come out. But usually a quarter to half a turn on that bleeder screw and it'll push some fluid out. So, all right, back up to the front here. Alright, yeah, it's filling up, so it's doing its job. Let me try and move the camera back here a little bit so maybe you get more of a wide angle on all this. Not like that's going to help much, but again, doing the best I can. And again, I just checked the level in the master cylinder too. So again, don't forget to do that every 4 or 5, pumps, and then when you switch wheels. Okay. Yeah, definitely getting filled up there. Okay. I think we're good on this one too. I'm actually going to hit this one more time. I don't like the way that sucked a little bit of air when I kind of tried to take that out of there, so I'm going to hit this one more time. All right. And sometimes you have to do this a couple times. But usually, if you get it good, then you're all right. But I'll tell you, I've had some cars that had some serious brake problems, and you got to go through a whole brake system and redo it, man. You can do a lot of brake bleeding. Okay, so now we are onto the front, and all the brake fluid that gets on this stuff will all wash off. You do not want to get brake fluid on paint. There's something about brake fluid that it just will dissolve paint. So if you spill it on your paint and get it off of there, don't let it sit on there. Okay, let me go empty this bottle out. And pause this here. All right. Okay, I'm back and getting ready to do the front here. I think I'm just going to leave the camera back like this. That way I can kind of get a shot of everything. So we're basically going to do the same thing up here. You'll see the bleeder screw there. Okay. Oh, I heard something. Couldn't figure out what it was, and it was my socket rolling away. There you go, right? Okay. Let me go get my socket here and hop in here and comfort a couple times. I'm actually going to have to open up this bleeder screw a little bit more. Sometimes that'll happen. You'll get in there and the pedal's just, you got to open it up a little bit more. So, there we go. That ought to do it. And yeah, sometimes it will blow that little pointy rubber thing out of the bleeder screw, but usually they stay in there pretty well. Alright, should be getting some fluid in that bottle. Needed to top off that master cylinder. the master cylinder again. How are we doing down here? Oh yeah, looks like that ball is getting full up pretty good. You got to remember too, the front brake lines are shorter, so they flush out a little bit faster, you know, than the rear ones. So yeah, looks good, nice and clear, nice and clean and clear. So, the pedal feels good. That's got a lot of nice, clean, clear fluid in there, so I'm thinking we're probably about done with this one here. Like I said, the front's flush out a lot faster than the rear, so. Alright. Kind of turn the bleeder screw by finger to kind of tighten it. Just kind of help seal it off even more when you pull the little plug out. It's not that big of a deal, but. Alright. Like I said, you can get those tiny little bleeder bottles, and there's other ways of doing it, but this works pretty good. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna turn this a little bit. And on to the next one. Last one. Alright. Making sure the camera's still going here. Okay. Oh, it really probably is a good idea if you're going to do YouTube videos to get two cameras and have them both going, just because I'll tell you what. When you look over and see that camera not going, I'll tell you what, it's a it's a pretty crappy feeling. Because then you got to go in and figure out where it stopped, and yeah. Okay. There we go. All right. I should have emptied this out, but because this brake line's even shorter, by the time it gets pretty much full up, it probably should be good, so. Check the master cylinder, full. Okay, where are we here? Maybe a couple more in there, huh? I think. Starting to really get a tight pedal, so that's good, but I'm going to crack this bleeder screw up just a touch more here. Yeah, and then that just blew that out. So now I got to redo this one. Lovely. I don't think I've had that happen in a long time. Okay, where are we on the fluid situation here? Still good, I see. Probably got a lot of air in there now. Okay, we're almost full there, so I'm about done, I think. A couple more. All right. Shut this off and give her a try here. Now, if you really get a lot of air in there, you know, you might have to redo the whole fronts. The front and the rear systems are separate, so. But just being where that blew off like that, yeah, it sucked a little air back up in there, but this front brake line here, like I said, this one's pretty short, so it didn't take much to get it flowing again, I don't think. Okay. All right. So let's go empty this out. I'm going to grab the camera and get in and see what the pedal's doing. Okay, I gotta pause this. Okay, we just topped off the master cylinder there again, and another thing too I should mention, just for the heck of it, you'll notice that our little collection bottle here has pretty clean fluid in it. So if you take this project on and you run out, that's a nice reason to dump the first dirty stuff, and then after that everything clean goes in there. So if you start running out of brake fluid, because that'll happen, it'll be like, you know, 2 in the morning, you're bleeding the brakes, you need one more bottle of brake fluid. That's all clean, good stuff there, so you can reuse that because you already flushed out all the dirty stuff. So just a little tip to help you save a couple bucks, or even if you got to just flush the system again and you want some extra fluid to flush it with, you know, and then you're going to put some new in. That's you know, still good stuff there. So sometimes it pays to you know, save a little bit of used oil here and there if it's really not much been used. So let's see. All right, pardon the camera shake. Just going to go around here and see what kind of pedal we got going on here. Alright, so let's see here. Oh yeah, that's rock freaking solid, man. And that's what it'll be when you do all new pads, because as the pads wear, your pedal starts going down, you know, a little bit further. And so yeah, that feels pretty firm. I'll have to, of course, all the air's out of the power brake booster too, because it hasn't been running, but still, that, I mean, after sitting here pushing down on it for, you know, a half an hour, yeah, you can tell there's a firm brake pedal there. So once again, in case that video shot is just too horrible, that is very firm brake pedal there. So okay, so gonna start it up and check and make sure the brakes, seem okay. The other thing you want to do too is after you're done doing this, hose them all off underneath and everything, and then after it's all dry the next day, stand on the brakes for a minute and then get underneath there and look and make sure you don't have any dribbles running down the insides of the tires or anywhere where you might have a leak. And you usually need to do that the next day because by the time you've done this, you've got brake fluid all over the place, so you're not going to be able to tell. So all right, with that, I'm going to pause this, and then now we're the next segment is going to be back to an addition back to the rear parking brakes. So that's what we're going to do to finish off the brake job on this thing. So we're pretty much done. Just got to do the parking brakes in the rear and then add that missing caliper bolt. So stick with me. Put the biggest trailer on it you can find, go down the steepest hill you can find. Not a problem. They need to be broke in. Once I get the rear parking brakes on there, I'll take it for a little drive and bed them in a little bit, and that'll be the real brake test. I got to do something now between now and when I get my brake shoes for the parking brakes. So I'm just I have a little bit of fun here, so don't mind me. Okay, again, we're just finishing up with the brakes here. So we did the front brakes, rear parking brakes, and an oil change. So we had, again, the parking brake lining fell out on the one side, and then we had a missing caliper bracket bolt on the front on the other, and then a couple of bolts back there holding the caliper on. The head sizes were 14 millimeter instead of 12, but the rest of the bolts were 12, so I just reused them. The bolts were fine. So otherwise, should be good to go for a while in the braking department. So with that, I guess it's on to the next project. So have a good one. Thanks for watching. This Gemini is tired.